Hi guys, I'm Samina and welcome to the codecottage.com's YouTube channel. We are today on day 25 of our 30 days of code, and before I actually begin this session, I really want to apologize for the ridiculously long delay that there has been between the previous videos and this part. Something unexpected came up and from the personal side of things, and so I had to take a little break. And now that I'm back, I do not intend to stop anytime soon. So now that that's out of the way, let's get started. So on day 24, we have finished working on the front page of the blog section. So this is our blog post, which is ready, and that's what this looks like. We will be making a little changes here and there, but that's for later. But today what we'll be doing is we'll be working on the single post page. So this is a collection of all the blog excerpts, but what if we want to read the actual blog post? What if I say, oh, this post looks good, let's read more? So when I click on that, it just opens this really ugly looking layout, which is completely broken, and we do not want that. So today we'll be designing this single page, which basically it's the main blog post page, which is also called as single.php in our WordPress themes. So that's single.php, and we'll be creating another file inside of our WordPress files, which will be called content single. That is because this is just the layout that we'll be designing in single.php, and all the content that goes inside that single.php will be added into our content single. So let's stop. I'll stop explaining things and I'll start working on it. So first things first, I'm just going to get rid of this section because these are predefined WordPress stylings, which I do not want, because here I want to add my own. So sorry, that's not needed. This is single.php. Now this is my static website. So what I'll do is go to page.html, which is basically where all our blog posts are written. And what I'll do is I'll copy this part. So that section class equals blog post, div class equals row, and div class is called span2 of 3. I'll copy that and I will paste this in single.php right here. And then I'll firstly close these tags because I do not want to create any kind of confusion. So I'll also comment what that tag does. Here it is row, and here it is section, which is blog post. Perfect. Now I'll create some space here, and this whole block of code up to end while will be entered right here. So this is the main, essentially the main part of our code. Okay, there you go. So that's obviously I have to cut that out. That's not needed. And then obviously when I refresh this, you'll see it goes to one side. There you go. It's gone to one side, but our beloved sidebar is still not showing on the side. So to do that, we'll follow the same procedure that we've done previously. Once this column ends, we'll create another call, span, but we won't actually create, we'll just copy it from here, which is the sidebar section. So I'll just take the aside, not the tags within it, just the aside section, and I'll paste that after this call span ends, and I'll also close this aside tag widget area. Okay, create some space here. So that's the end of our entire row, and here inside the aside we'll add a sidebar. So I'll cut this from here and go for it. PHP, close that, and get, or I'll just paste it because I cut that from there. So that's perfect, and I'll just indent it properly. Now when I refresh it, the sidebar will be on the side where it is supposed to be. There you go, that's perfect. Now we see that things are a bit weird right here. That's because we've still not added our comments properly, and some of our input areas are messing about with that, but we'll get to that later. Now, obviously, there are some very obvious discrepancies here, which is this read more, which is something that we really don't need. because this is not an excerpt, this is an actual blog post. So that it's retrieving from that get post type template paths content, but this is not what we need. What we actually need is for it to be content single. So first of all, I'll just create a new file here. So I don't want it to be inside any folder. I want it to be a standalone file, just like index.php or header.php. So I'll close this folder, and here I'll click on new file and say content single. Oh, I'm sorry, I don't have to type it. I'll just save it first. And inside my orange marmalade, as a standalone theme, I'll say content single.php. Save that. Now what I'll do is firstly leave it alone and first get on with the single.php. We'll finish working on single.php first, right? So what I'll do here now that our page has been created, I will link that over here. So I'll get rid of this entire stuff right here and say content, comma, single. So it looks at content dash single, which is right here. I'll save this. Now when we refresh it, everything will be gone because our content single is empty. There you go. That's gone. Perfect. So it's not getting any content because we haven't added anything to our content. Now let that be the way it is because we have linked our single.php to content single.php. Now we'll start working on this first. This section, which is the post navigation section right here, really needs a little bit of work. So what we'll do is we'll get rid of this. So that this bit of code right here, the post navigation, is a WordPress call which shows these two links. So it's the previous post and the next post. So I'll just get rid of that, save it, and now when I refresh it, you'll see that's gone. There you go, that's gone. Not to worry, we'll get it back. But I will be adding a few bits and bobs of code, adding my own classes, and then adding some CSS styling to it to make it look more appealing. So let's do that. Firstly, I'll create, sorry, it won't happen here. Just close the PHP and then open the PHP for comments. So now we have a code block here that we can use for our div. Okay, div class, and I'll also just close that div. The class here, I'll call it row because I need it on a different row. As you can see, that whole thing was our post. Then the post navigation has to be on its own row. So row, and I'll give it an additional class, and I'll call that class as post navigation single. Post navigation single, just so it's easy and semantic for us to know exactly what that div is doing. Post navigation single. Perfect. Now inside that I'll create another div. So this basically is a container, and within that container I'm going to create another class, a div with a class, and I'll give it a class of navigation. Alright. Perfect. Now I will add that same the post navigation inside this div block. So what happens is it gives us the opportunity to use these classes and actually stylize it and make it look the way we want it to look. Now you'll see that it's back again without any, like, it's just exactly what it was looking like before, but now we have the added advantage of styling it the way we want to style it. So let's head over to our custom.css right here, and I'll head into the blog page, not the excerpts. The single is, do we have that? Okay, so we are going to create a new section and call it blog page single post, just above the comment section. Blog page single post section. Perfect. And now I'll start adding my little bits and bobs of code over here. So we'll target that .row.post navigation single. Okay, And firstly, we'll give it a margin because we want it to be evenly spaced out. So 1% and 3%, right? Then I will give it a background color. Now I need to have a look at my color codes right here. So I'll give it a background of this cream color. Head back here. Background color will be that nice little creamy cream. And the padding will be 3% overall. Let's just refresh and see what that looks like. Okay, I believe we have some cache issues here as always. So I'm going to head into Firefox and paste the same link. Oh gosh, keep Chrome. There you go. There you go. This is our well stylized section with the navigation. Now what I want is people usually will not understand if this is next or what, like, so a little arrow mark would be a good sense of direction. So I'll get rid of this and I'll head back to my code, and what I'll do is I'll also create basically, now let's inspect this element right here, and you'll see some predefined WordPress classes that you get over here, and that is nav previous and nav next. You see how it highlights over there? So we have nav previous and nav next. So we could use these two classes and actually stylize the text and how we want it to be displayed. So first let's do that. So I'm going to head back into my Sublime text, and here I'll say dot nav previous and dot nav next. And now I'm going to firstly text transform this to uppercase, then give it a font size of 14 pixels. The letter spacing here, I'll keep it to 2 pixels per usual. Maybe I'll just leave it at 1 pixel this time because of space constraints. Let's just see what in header.php, how much sizing do I have? So I'm going to keep it to railway, and I'll give it a font weight of 600. So I'll head back to my custom.css, and font weight give it about 600. Let's first refresh this and see what it looks like. I think I'm very happy with that. But now I also want to give it some direction. So some arrow marks would be great. So what I'll do here is dot nav previous, and I'll use a pseudo class called before, and content will be inside double quotations. I'll just keep it like that. So let's refresh this and see what it looks like. There you go. You've got these two arrow marks, and I'll just give it a little space here. So there's some spacing as well. There you go. It's well spaced out. So now you kind of know that this is the previous post, and to read the next post, now what I'll do is dot nav next before. Oh, sorry, this won't be before, this will be after, because you want that arrow mark to appear after this section. So again, content, and within this I'll give space and then like so. So now when I refresh this, you'll see that's what it looks like. I'll also change the color for this thing, really give it a nice green perhaps. I'll just leave it at that dark orange, or maybe light orange would look good, kind of like a little contrasting or complementing colors, so to speak. So we have our switch. There you go. Where did it go? There it is. Yeah. So I'll just add that as my color. Again, add that as my color. Refresh it. There you go. I think that looks stunning, and very happy with how that's looking right here. And then when you kind of hover over it, it's this normal green color. Perfect. So that's done. Now that our navigation section is done and our sidebar is ready, I'm also quickly going to head into functions because I'm revisiting this code after a very long time. So I'm just going to go there and see if I have my Instagram feed set up, which I do. So what I will do is I will add this sidebar into my single.php. So here I'll go for PHP dynamic sidebar and call it sidebar 3. So this will display our Instagram posts after the comment section. There you go. I think it looks really brilliant. And in fact, I think I will also add that to index.php because I want the blog excerpts to have that Instagram feed showing up as well. So after or just before the footer and after the sidebar is over, I'll just add the dynamic sidebar as well and just refresh it. So we have our Instagram feed on the single page, single posts, and also in our excerpts page right here, which looks pretty fantastic. I hope. Now, when we go to read this post, as you know, we'll only be able to see this navigation because our main content page is linking to content single and content single. Oh, sorry, this is index.php. Content single right here, and content single at the moment is pretty empty. So let's begin filling this out and make it more exciting. So the very first thing I want to do is firstly go to content.php first, my template paths content, and I'll just firstly just copy all of this, copy it, close it, content single, paste it right here. Now when I refresh this, you'll see that it looks exactly like the blog excerpts, but we're going to make a lot of changes now to this. So here now, instead of giving it a row, a class of row space post excerpt, I will simply give it a class of row blog post. And once I've given it that row, I'll just indent everything towards the inside, right? And here I'll create another div and give it a class of post. So these are our individual posts. Brilliant. So here the blog post excerpt becomes dot blog post. Perfect. Now what I'll do is I'll cut all of this code and paste it between my div class post. Now we don't need most of this, so let's begin chopping stuff out. So firstly, I will leave this part because this is our header. We'll leave the post thumbnail, but we'll get rid of this post body excerpt and replace it with post body. And call it the content. So that's going to be a major improvement because now suddenly this section will be gone. Let's refresh it and we'll have our entire blog post right here. For this particular single blog posts section, we do not need this HR. So I'm going to get rid of this horizontal line as well. Let's refresh this. That's gone. Perfect. So we have our posts. I'm just going to inspect the element and see if we need to make any changes to the actual post body. So we've got the padding, which is great, which is exactly what we need. I think it's all good. Now we have the post thumbnail. I just also wanted to, yep, that's perfectly fine. I do, however, want there to be a comment section here and also for the post thumbnail to have a little bit of margin on the top. So I'll give it a margin top of say 3%, perhaps even 5, just to keep it nice and spacious. So let's just head back into our custom.css and in our individual single post section here, I'll say dot post thumbnail margin top would be 5%. Let's refresh that. There you go, perfect. Now I just want to add that comment area. So I'll just add a new section of code right here. So bear with me. I'll head back into my content-single.php, and inside my post meta, because it is part of my post metadata. Here I'll just actually write a comment, post comment, and here I'll begin with the usual div tag. So I'll give it a div and give it a class of top comment. Then I'll also top comment. Perfect. Now inside that, what I'll do is I'll start creating the link. So firstly, it'll be an ahref. Okay. And I'll close that a tag as well. Right here. Inside the reference now, I wanted to reference to the actual post comments right here, which will be beautifying in tomorrow's video. So when I click on this comments link, which will appear here, it will take me straight to all the comments section on the page. So to do that, the reference here will be PHP, and that will be comments underscore link, right? Then what I'll do is, inside that comments now, I'll add an icon class for the comment bubble, and it's going to be FARFA comment. Okay, close that I tag as well. And then I want to give it a comments number, because it will then tell you how many, it will just display a number based on the number of comments there are. So to do that, it will be PHP, close that code block, PHP, and here I'll say comments number, and inside this parentheses I will say 0 comma 1 comma percent. So 0 if there are no comments, 1 if there's just one comment, and percent based on how many comments there are in total. Now my A is closed, my div is closed, so let's save that. It won't have styling at all because we haven't styled it yet. When we refresh it, something seems to have gone amiss. So I'm just going to see what may have happened. ahref. Let's just see why that may be happening. There you go. So yeah, so it's not percent, it should be inside. It's basically a string, so it should be inside inverted commas or single quotes. So there you go. Our top comment appears. Now when I click on this, it will take me to this comment section every time. There you go. So let's style this now. So I'll head into my custom.css, and inside my single post section itself, I'll create a top comment section. Okay, and here now I'll add the styling. So firstly, the top comment will be having a text align of center, which it has by default because metadata has that styling. I'll give it a margin top and bottom should be like 4%. Perhaps margin top alone should be 4% because the bottom is already taken care of. So just yep, that looks good. And then I will target the link of it. So what I'll do for that is dot top comment, the anchor tag within the top comment div. I want it to have a font family of railway or sans serif. I want it to have a font weight of 7 because it should be pretty bold looking. So I'll refresh that, and you'll see it's got a nice little bold thing going on over there. I could increase the size to like 100%. That maybe too much. Actually, it's not. It's quite all right. Maybe I'm just targeting the wrong section. So top comment font size 100%. There you go. I think I would leave it to 140% or 120%. There you go. So top comment font size will be 120%. I may want to reduce the font weight slightly, maybe keep it at 500 because that looks quite bold and I think this looks perfect and I like it. So that's that. Now what I'll do is just to be sure that we have everything in order. I like doing this little thing where I head into the back end and I add certain um, media elements onto the blog post. Just, you know, um, so we know exactly what's going on in terms of images that are being used. So say I add an image right here in this post, okay, and this is one of those really large images and I want to add it. I edit that and I say that I want it to be the full size. Now the fun thing is, um, I'll just show you what happens, but first I'll also add a gallery. So I'll add all the images, um, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. What I'll do is I'll create a new gallery and I'll say the size should be, say, thumbnail is better because when you're having that many and 3 columns, so it'll be 2 rows. So we insert that gallery right here and I'll save the changes. I'll update that. Now let's head back and view that post. So as you can see here, this image, because we have kept it at its full size, oh, it's just gone back. I'll just head back there. Because it's the full size, you can see how humongous it is. Whereas these images are totally fine. So when I kind of do that, it will be fine. It's not gonna, there's nothing to worry about that. But this, yes, we definitely need to worry about this. So what we do is we inspect element and inside our post body, if we have any image, so basically what I'll do is I'll head into post body and inside our post body whenever we have any image I want it to have its width to be 100%. So dot post body img width will be 100%. So 100% of the width that we have specified for our content area and the height will be auto. So now when I refresh it, you'll see that the image fits the browser window. So now we don't have anything to worry about because it's 100% of its actual width and the height has been kept to auto. So you will see that even our thumbnail images, they resize according to the width of the window. So it stays 100% of the browser width and the height remains auto consistently. So that's really, really important. We'll be doing that for our post thumbnail as well actually. So what I'll do is I'll also say post thumbnail ing dot post thumbnail, sorry. There you go. And let's refresh that. You see that it sticks throughout and it gives you a very, very consistent and good user experience. So depending on what screen size you're viewing this on, the images will always adjust to it, which I think is really nice. There you go. So that's it for the day. I do feel like this area needs a little bit of more padding. So what I'll do is I'll just towards the end before we finish this. This is blog post. Um, so I'll just say blog post, and I'll just give it a padding from the right. of like 5%. So it kind of doesn't go all the way, sticks consistently. So that's what I'll do. That's perfect. So dot row dot blog post, and the padding right will be 3%. Let's refresh that, and that looks perfect. Very happy with that because now there's a good amount of space between the sidebar and the actual post content. So it doesn't look very, yeah, that's fine because that's for the Instagram. So there's nothing to worry about. Refresh that and looks fabulous. So that's it for today's video. We have successfully created our individual blog post section. So if you want to go to the next one, it takes you here, then the next one takes you there. Now in tomorrow's video, we will be straightening up our comment section. So this is logged in. So once we log out, and we have a little crow there. So this section needs to be really straightened out. The text areas look very inconsistent. So we'll be working on that tomorrow's video. So that'll be day 26. So I hope you are enjoying the series, and I'm sorry again for the real long gap between the videos. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this video and you're learning. If you are, then don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon so you're notified every time I post a new video. If you have any comments or feedback, pop them down in the comments below. And if you like this video and found it helpful, then don't forget to give a big like to this video. I'll see you again for day 26. Until then, goodbye and happy coding.